this is what we call a phaser voice. You hear so much about how singers who are trained, or musicians in general, who are too much trained, they lack expression. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we're back in the studio with a good cup of coffee for one more vocal analysis. And well, a couple weeks ago, I did an analysis on Benson Boone singing with Brian May, Bohemian Rhapsody. And yeah, he just released something else. He released this song called Momma song. And yeah, I'm excited to hear that. Benson Boone is a fantastic singer, as I told you guys before. I have worked a couple of his songs with students in the past, but personally, I don't have that much experience with his singing. I haven't heard a lot of it. However, from what I've heard, especially that fantastic song Beautiful Things that a lot of students want to learn and practice. What a singer. A lot of vocal schemes, different vocal distortions, a huge range, and yeah, I expect nothing less from this song. If you are new here, my name is Caio Loesch. I'm a singer-songwriter. I have an original song coming up soon. The name of the song is The Crown My Fall. And as soon as I have more news on that, I'll let you guys know. And I'm a voice teacher, vocal coach. I work with larynx physiology, mostly with contemporary singing in general, and also distorted vocals. Yeah! So if you want to sing rock, metal, you might want to add those techniques into your repertoire. And if you're into this kind of content, please subscribe to the channel. That helps me a lot with the algorithm. Click the like button. Yeah, let's go. Without further ado, get your coffee and let's listen.
Okay, here he goes. Say, I'm such a big boy.
I'm such a big boy.
Yeah.
Dad, I'm such a big boy.
You are such a big boy.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh my god. I already see where this is going. That reminds me a lot of this song that Billy Joel released recently. I said recently, it was last year. What's the name? What's the name? Give me a second. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Turn the lights back on. So I think that he's going for something similar here. It will show like his process becoming older and older, and yeah, I think that that's kind of where this is going, but I might be totally wrong as well.
Mama, I'm missing home.
No, it's not. But that's really nice. We already have some vocal distortions here. This is a creaky voice. Mama,
Mama, I'm missing home.
Mama, I'm missing home. So the creaky voice is this really mild and soft and intimate distortion that he's using here. And the creak is a kind of distortion that happens all the time, for instance, when we are speaking to somebody, but then we don't want to be loud, and then we just start speaking more like this. Well, the vocal folds, they can be full of blood, activated. That's the way that we call in physiology. So when we engage more the muscles, we say that the vocal folds are closing by will. They're closing by volition. Hence, we say that they are active. When they are not active, they are relaxed, but they are still closing because of the air pressure. Pulling them to the center, we say that they are in passive tension. Whenever we are kind of in the middle, we are, it's like, I'm singing soft and I try to increase a bit, or I'm singing strong and for some reason I'm trying to make it a bit softer. That's the result that we have. It's a creaky voice. It's somewhere in the middle. We have the arytenoid cartilage is responsible for making that correctly. All right. It's not the same thing as the fry sound. Body of the vocal folds needs to be more flexible to be able to do the creaky voice.
And California's getting cold. And cold. And cold. I miss you. And Mama, I'm getting old. Does that mean you're getting older? And older.
It's deep, like.
And older. I miss you. Mama, don't you know? There's nothing to be sorry about. I'm so proud of all you've done.
Yeah, so naturally he's dedicating that song to his mother, and yeah, it's really nice that he's like putting together all of this footage from he was really young and she was raising him. It's just extremely deep. And when it comes to the singing, at least that verse, he was using a lot of creakies like "Mama, I'm missing home in California," and also at the end of the phrase, some breathies, cold, cold, and that expresses a lot of vulnerability. The breathy voice is a really vulnerable vocal scheme. We have the vocal folds and passive tension, and on top of that, we are allowing the escape of air, so we have even more breathiness in this soft sound. Now, some people believe that the breathy voice is not healthy in a technical context. Oh, you will be drying. It is drying for the vocal folds, but anything that we sing or any technique that we use to sing is drying for the vocal folds. So you will dry out your vocal folds when you sing. That's the reason why you need to keep hydrated. Drink, of course, your coffee, but also drink water to stay hydrated. However, the problem with the breathy voice is when we try to sing with a breathy voice with too much volume or too much compression. In fact, when we are using the breathy voice, it should be the opposite of that. It should be really delicate and small. We don't want volume for that. We want to be close to the microphone. Instead of making it loud, it has to be really small. Alright? And then the microphone will do its magic. Alright.
Tell me your memories of when you were young and when you fell in love.
Fell in love. Fell in love. Fell in love. This is a warm voice. His vocal folds are now active. Well, he was singing some parts of his vocal folds active in the beginning of the song, but right now we get into the belting range. So he's singing up high. This is a B flat and then A. He's keeping his vocal folds active. This is the part of the range where it becomes a bit more challenging because you need to stretch your vocal folds. The muscles, what we call the firming muscles, the muscles in the back of your larynx need to be embracing the vocal folds so that you don't have cracks. And of course, he's quite skilled at that. And yeah, a beautiful belting voice here. Inside vocal anthropophysiology, we call this a warn voice because it is the same kind of behavior that you would use if you were to warn someone about something. The example that I always use, you imagine that you're walking down the street, someone is crossing the street, you want to warn them that a car is coming, you just yell, "Oh!" And of course, when we pick that behavior and we put it into the singing context, we need to be mindful of the volume that we are using. It cannot be too loud because since we have the muscles more engaged, the vocal folds in active tension, hence we are increasing the transglottic pressure, we need to decrease the pressure somewhere, otherwise your larynx will suffer with that. So to summarize, be careful with the volume. That's the reason why. If you pay attention to that, Benson Boone, whenever he's singing live, he has in-ears and he can hear himself well instead of only make those high notes happen by force. First, we need muscle engagement. We need a certain degree of muscle tension. That's normal, that's desirable. However, we need to decrease the pressure somewhere else.
Drive me through the country, tell me your story, and you can play.
Oh, the creaky. And you. That's beautiful.
All of your favorite songs.
And something else that he's using here every now and then, and I really appreciate, are the yodels.
Cause I'm gonna need.
I don't know the words, let me check them. Cause I'm gonna need.
Cause I'm gonna need that.
Cause I'm gonna need. This is what we call a phaser voice. It's a glottic distortion where we have some hiss and breathiness, but we also have some crackling of the arytenoid cartilages at the same time. This is quite common in hard rock. This is the exact kind of distortion that Bon Jovi would use, Axl Rose would use, Steven Tyler.
I'm gonna need that.
Cause I'm gonna need it. And pay attention to the degree of nasality. We do want some nasality for this. And we do want the larynx to be a bit higher for this kind of distortion. This kind of distortion, and pay attention to that, this kind of distortion is not healthy if we try to keep the larynx really low. In fact, that might be harmful for your voice. We need some degree of nasality because, for this distortion, because we want a bit of breathiness, the vocal folds will become a bit more vulnerable. And having a higher larynx, a bit of nasality, we will increase the rebound effect, and part of that pressure that's coming back because we don't have all that supraglottic space will help the vocal folds close a bit more so that it's not as drying.
this when I'm holding pictures of you, and that's
Ah, the breathy.
all that I've got left. All that I've got left. All that I've got left. Lately it's getting hard.
That's creaky again.
I've started looking like my father, and it makes me cry a little bit. Cause he really should have made it big. Cause damn, he's good at everything.
I also love the horn. This is, to me, when I'm recording songs, when I'm writing and I'm recording my own original music, that's one of the parts that I feel the most excited with, like recording the harmonies right after. Because that's when I start playing around, creating different sounds, and then I'm hearing the song and I'm hearing my voice twice. I mean, I know sometimes it sounds stupid, but if you're a singer, you get what I mean. Like, it makes your song so full when you can hear that there is that main melody, but then there is more voice. It's not only your singing, you have something else. So I really appreciate good harmonies in songs, and that's exactly what we're hearing here.
And everything I am is because of you. I'm a man because of you.
Because of you, that breath.
Take me down your own street.
Okay, here we have something a bit different.
Take me.
Pay attention to that future position. It sounds even a bit country. We call this inside vocal anthropophysiology a horn voice. It's the idea of, for instance, horn instruments in an orchestra. You have a different set of harmonics being emphasized because you're playing with the position of the soft palate, or, well, the supraglottic structures in general, the vocal tract. It might be the tongue, the vestibular folds, the soft palate, even the way that you're opening your mouth, if it is more vertical, if it is a bit more horizontal. And that's what he's using here. We have a bit of a soft palate, lowering of the soft palate. We also have a bit of the tongue raising, and we have that characteristic sound.
Because of you. Take me down your own.
And then more space. Take me down your road. More space.
Because of you. Take me down your own street.
Take me down your own street. So last space and then more space. And I really like when singers do that, because for so many years inside vocal pedagogy we have that saying that you need to keep your larynx low the whole time, you need to keep your palate high the whole. That's not the case in contemporary singing. We are free as long as it's healthy, and if we pay attention to the different pressurization systems, the subglottic pressurization system, the transglottic, the supraglottic, and the psychoacoustic pressurization systems, if we pay attention to all those, it will be healthy. If we equalize the pressures in a healthy way, it will be healthy, and we can play around with different sounds. However, it's important to point out that that's only possible because of this guy here and this guy here, the microphone. Some of the sounds will not be loud, some of the sounds will not be practical without a microphone, so we need to pay attention to that. But we do use the microphone in contemporary singing, so we should take advantage of that. Because of that, I'm really happy when I see these incredible singers that they play around with those different sounds. That's what we need in contemporary singing. And that goes in the direction of what I like to say to my students about the function of vocal technique. You hear so much about how singers who are trained, or musicians in general, who are too much trained, they lack expression because, oh, they sound like robots, or they don't have a voice of their own. They are thinking too much on the technical side instead of expressing themselves. And it is, in fact, the opposite. The function of vocal technique is for you to be able to express what you want to express. So if I'm singing a song and I understand that the lyrics are telling a story, or the lyrics are saying something, they want to convey something, and then I don't have the tools to make that happen with my voice, then I'm a limited singer. What I really want to do is, I have this song, I have these lyrics, I have this melody. I want to use my voice to convey the feelings, the sensations that I want to based on those words, based on that melody. If I have all these tools, if I can use a creaky, if I can use a breathy, if I can use a Gregorian, if I can use a warn, if I can use a phaser, if I can use all of those techniques, my singing will be way more expressive. However, the way that we organize that need some thought. We need to stop. We need to map it out. We need to pay attention to how do I want to sound when I sing this phrase, and how do I want to sound when I sing that phrase. For some people, that might happen after a set of years and years of trial and error, and that's totally fine. But the thing is, for so many singers, without being actively trying to learn that, we can't. That was my case. I couldn't understand why so many singers would just sing and it would sound good, and they could do all those many sounds, and I could, after years and years of voice lessons, I could only sing on pitch. And then I would listen to singers that I liked, and they would be singing with so many different colors, so many different sounds. And I would be like, what's even happening? It's just because they're talented and I'm not. And it was only after I studied and learned more of vocal physiology that I was able to understand that all of that is you using the muscles, shaping them in different ways, coordinating them in different ways to achieve the sounds that you want to achieve. And the goal is exactly that, to express yourself if you're singing. So yeah, if you don't understand the function of vocal technique and then you just try to sing as if you were doing an exercise, that's wrong. But then if you understand all of those different sounds, these different schemes, ornaments, as tools for you to express yourself as a singer, then you only grow your singing. You'll be way more expressive. All right. And just a side note here, if that makes sense to you and you would like to learn all of these vocal schemes, like the Gregorian voice, the breathy voice, the warn, the crooner, the clamp, and also ornaments like runs, vibrato, yodel, vocal distortions like the creaky, the phaser, the snarl, all of that is covered inside my singing course, Building Your Voice. We have lessons on all of those topics. We have a vocal exercise library for all of those techniques. We even have a lesson on how to create your own vocal exercises based on the songs that you're practicing, and also an extra module on music theory for singers. The link is in the description below, and when you click the link without committing to anything, you have a 38 minutes free voice lesson where we talk about understanding the voice through this physiological reasoning. We talk about the warn voice, basically belting those high notes, and we talk about the phaser voice, all in that lesson. Completely free, link in the description. So let's keep going.
Tell me your memories of when you were young and where you fell in love.
Harmonies.
Drive me through the country. Tell me your...
Nah. Minor seven.
'Cause I'm gonna need this when I'm holding pictures of you in them. All that I've got left. All that I've got left. All that I've got left. All that I've got.
Already with his flips, with his back flips, even when he was super young. Okay, let me hear that again because I was just doing something on top of him. Okay, we have a apportment is the way that we call those slides. He wasn't just jumping from one note to the next. We had a small slider. And then some vibrato. And at the end, a yodel. Vocal technique, guys. Vocal technique. He did. I was right. I wonder if she's his mother, though. Because they're not showing her face. Oh, they are. Oh, that's so nice. Oh my god. That must have felt so, like, emotional to him to record this music video. And of course, we're watching it later with all the strong background behind it. Yeah, that's That's Steve. Well, guys, that's our analysis for Benson Boone's Momma song. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Please subscribe to the channel because you stay on top whenever we have more analysis like this or tutorial videos. And of course, if you click the bell button, you'll be notified when I post new videos. It might be something that you like, so it's worth checking out. But it might be something that you're not interested in. The thing is, you don't need to watch it. You'll be notified and you can see, oh, I like this, or no, I'm not really interested in watching this. And then you don't watch. However, you have the option because YouTube will notify you. And you're also helping me with the algorithm because if you can take something out of this video, maybe some other people could as well. And our way to make this video reach them is if you guys like the video and subscribe and comment. And talking about comments, I would like to leave it down here. What kind of techniques you use in your singing to make it more expressive? Because we just had a beautiful music video here where he's basically making a tribute to his mother, the lady that raised him throughout his life, and he used a range of different vocal techniques to be expressive in his singing. Now, what about you? When you want to be expressive, what do you do with your voice? Tell me here in the comments. Again, I have a complete singing course called Building Your Voice. Over 30 lessons on a range of topics from passive vocal schemes to active vocal schemes, vocal physiology, breathing support, how to create your own vocal exercises, warming up your voice, vocal distortions, all of that, plus an extra module on music theory for singers and a vocal exercise library with a bunch of different vocal exercises for all of these techniques. You can check all that out clicking the link down below. If you click the link, again, you receive free access to a 38-minute lesson talking about belting, the warm voice, and also phaser voice, one of the kinds of vocal distortion, and how to practice it in a healthy way. Alright, so link down below, check that out. Again, subscribe to the channel. That's all for today. I'll see you in the next video. And remember, if your concepts cannot be seen in the real world, they must change, and not the world.